we start film Mendacity. It's about sort of a don, of like a leader of a gang, which is me with the red tie. He sort of built up a reputation and like company business, and then he, like, as you see, he walks outside and then it cuts to a flashback of his two like henchmen, you know what I mean, like, and they mess up and he sort of just declines from there, like he loses everything, and then like the rest of the film we just thinking about really him just rebuilding, like trying to construct everything back together, like overcoming this like downhill like event, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so what are you trying to establish, Kieran, Matt? What are you trying to establish in the opening 2 minutes then? That's an interesting storyline. What are you trying to just establish?
Trying to show his downfall, really, so where it peaked and then when it went on.
Okay, cool. Right, let's have a look.
Yeah.
Mendacity. Wow, round of applause. Turn the lights on, please. That was really, really good. Okay. Fantastic. Right. Positives. So much to say, eh? Who wants to start? Katie, give something. What did you like?
I really like the start, like the sound effects, like the tea and like the cup and like the credits moving in to show like Mitch and then like the different characters.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the editing throughout was really kind of crisp and really, really tight, and I thought that added a lot to it, to be honest with you. You know, you had your raw footage, of which, you know, there's a couple of things we'll talk about, but what you did with that raw footage was exemplary. It was really good. Lucy?
I liked it when like the camera was like in the box and they were like opening it and it showed them.
Yeah, absolutely. How hard was that shot to do?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Cropped up with a couple of plastic.
Okay, yeah. But it worked really well. And that shot was framed really nicely. You got Kieran and, you know, you got Matt just behind looking over, and it was just really nice frame. The most nicely framed shot in the whole thing, I think. Worked really well. I like that too. Alex?
I quite liked how that went on the shot for too long, like the way the credits like faded in and out, like to black. And also like some of the shot techniques, like when they like, looked up towards the sky and then it cut back down to like a different area. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
Like, changing scene.
Absolutely, and the changing of scenes was done really, really well, because there were a variety of different locations there, and I felt that, you know, you're starting to learn the most important lesson, I think, which is there's not many shots that can be short enough. You know what I mean? Like it's best to be as tight as you possibly can. A lesson you'll have to learn for next year when you make a trailer, because all those shots have got to be really, really short. Okay, and I think you started to throw that in there, and it was just right. You know, no shot was really making us kind of drift off. It was all keeping it going. Really nice that. David?
I like the sped up shot which goes down the alleyway. That was really good. Like,
Yep.
effective.
Yeah, it was effective. Yeah, and you know, it makes you kind of concerned about this person with the baseball bat, and the way that he drops the bat was nice too. Yeah, that worked really well because at that point in the trailer you almost needed something to happen, I think, and it did just when you wanted it to. So I thought that was good. Anna.
I like the ending, how you just heard the noise and it just went
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
like really like synchronised.
It was really good. Yeah, really good continuity editing, really synchronised. That sound of the baseball bat, how did that come about? Where did you find that as a sound effect?
When we were walking through down the alleyway, I followed the camera holding the briefcase next to it.
Right.
All he did was swung and then just hit the briefcase.
Okay. And so it was actually a diegetic sound effect you made on...
Yeah.
Brilliant. It worked really well. I thought maybe something you added in afterwards. No, that worked brilliantly, really nicely. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Hannah Ford, what do you think? Kind of positive maybe we haven't mentioned. Anything that you really liked about that?
The music, it was kind of just like calm and gentle,
Mm.
and it didn't really say that anything was going to happen, but then it kind of did, so it kind of kept the mood going throughout.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd want to kind of carry on watching that film, definitely. Okay, boys, question to you really. Now you watch on the big screen, you know, we've always got to be reflective as kind of practitioners. You've got to be reflective all the time. So, hopefully you'll all think about carrying on reading next year. You've still got a little bit of time left before this is due for the deadline. Anything watching on the big screen with the sound large you think, I didn't quite pull that off. Well, that was an issue we never quite resolved. Any weaknesses to your product?
I don't know, I think in the beginning we had in a way too much footage to try and get in there. We had to cut it down quite a lot. And the beginning scene in the kitchen, that was meant to be quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
To have other scenes, but we had to cut so much of it down.
You start, when we were filming, we realised so many different points where I kept moving, where I should have just stayed still, made editing a lot harder, and then we had to reshoot it.
Yeah, editing. They always say like the best way to get movement in your films is through editing rather than the person moving. If that makes sense. So you know you could have someone walking down an alleyway and you could shoot that in that could be 10, 12, 15 different shots. But actually the movement is made by the shots, not by just following someone moving, and that often makes for the better kind of film. That's an interesting point. What about you, Kieran? What do you think?
I was kind of annoyed that when I picked up the briefcase in the hedge, the lighting changed.
Right.
So that, I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't know, I have to say. But you know, you watch these things over and over again, and you
Yeah.
spot things all the
I
time.
sat there and edited for
Yeah.
many hours, so...
Yeah. No, as I said, I think you know what you did with your raw footage, you did brilliantly. You couldn't fault that at all. I think that scene that it's paused on, funny enough, I think some of the dialogue in the woods was a little bit low. And I think next year, playing around with using microphones, which we'll get more of and better ones next year, and playing around with maybe adding, you know, there would be no reason why you couldn't maybe have had Matt's telephone conversation added in afterwards, because you can't see him talking anyway. And maybe that's something for you all to think about really, in terms of dialogue. Yes, you could have a dialogue like Lucy and Fabian's dialogue yesterday, which is quite clear and filmed on location, and that worked nicely. But if you're trying to film people talking quite far away, and we haven't got, you know, we've got one boom, which Mr. Chamberlain keeps stealing, which is probably why none of you have ever seen it. Without that boom, if you're trying to film Matt talking quite far away like that, it's going to be really difficult to do unless you actually film it twice and unhook the audio and video out in afterwards. Your Mendacity special effects, what was that all about? Your little drops of black, how did that... Explain that to me.
I did that in After Effects.
Well, that's lovely. So it's really, really nice. Throwing in a little special effect like that, again, just kind of takes your film from all of the films that are going on in the country and pulls it out of the pack a little bit. I think that was a really nice effect. Good. Any other thoughts, anyone? It's a good film. Well done. Really good effort for your first film. You should be really proud of that. Well done. Really good. Okay, great. Right.